rising ready for the fight. From the court to the field, they shine so bold. With every move, the stories unfold. We're cheering on the youth from the start to the win. Giving them the mic, let their voices begin. Interviews and highlights, we got it all. GN Sports Show, where the young stand tall. GN Sports, where the youth lead the way. Champions of tomorrow, making waves today. From ages 5 and up, we help them grow. It's their time to shine on the GN Sports Show. GN Sports Show. GN Sports Show.
Good evening, viewers, and welcome back to the second episode of the GN Sports Show. My name is Jonathan Thorogood, Administrative Assistant at GN Sports Global.
My name is Jason Cordis, President of the Parent Association, the CGPGA.
We would like to welcome you to our second edition of the show. Just before we begin, we would like to just run over our vision and mission statement of the GN Sports Show. Our vision is to become the premier platform for showcasing and empowering young student athletes, providing them with the tools and exposure to excel both in sports and life, while shaping the next generation of confident, media-savvy leaders. The GN Sports Show is dedicated to highlighting the talent and stories of young student athletes across all sports disciplines. We aim to equip them with vital media exposure and public speaking skills, helping them grow into confident individuals both on and off the field. Through engaging interviews, mentorship, and real-world media experiences, we strive to foster personal and professional development that supports their athletic journeys. All right, well, just before we go into a quick break, we would like to thank the sponsors of Generation Next, Fruta, Antigua Masonry Products, Kenneth A. Gomez Insurance Agency, Island Photo, and Francis Trading Agency.
And welcome back to the GN Sports Show. As my co-host Jonathan said, it's our second episode. It's been fun so far, and we have an exciting show for you today. Today we have two of the Generation Next Rebels under 9 football players. Two young superstars in the under 9. We have Zaya Fletcher and we have Jaden Edmond. We have Jaden Edmond here. So, Jonathan, let's find out what happened to these kids. Let me see what kind of superstars they are. What made them get into football? All these fun stuff. So let's probably try Zaya first.
So Zaya, let's start off with you. Speaking about football, what is your favorite team? Do you support any team? Is it here in Antigua? Is it Premier League in the UK? Is there a specific team that's your favorite team?
My favorite team is Real Madrid.
Real Madrid. Okay. And do you have a favorite player that plays for Real Madrid? Who's your favorite player on the team?
I have to say maybe Vinicius Jr.
Vinicius Jr. I like that answer. What about you, Jalen? Do you have a favorite team?
Yes, it is.
Too many, right?
Yeah, it is.
Well, give me your best one.
That's said.
As I said, Real Madrid as well. You sure?
Who's your favorite player?
Okay, so yes, I think Real Madrid. Cristiano used to play for Real Madrid.
I think I could be close a little bit to Jalen. Who's your favorite player? Vinny, right?
Vinicius Jr. Okay.
So, who got you into football? Who inspired you to play football?
My dad.
Your dad? Your dad's a footballer?
No.
No?
He more like to basketball.
Oh, he's more of a basketballer. Okay. So he don't want you to outshine him playing basketball, so he push you over to football. I get it.
And what about you, Zai? Who got you into playing football?
My dad.
Your dad?
And my uncle.
And your uncle. Do any of them play the sport? Do any of them play football?
My uncle play football. He's a defender, and my dad is a chef.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Your dad's a football chef? His dad is a football chef, guys. So Jalen, tell me, what do you want to do when you grow up? You want to be a professional footballer, or you want to do something else? Tell me what you want to do.
I want to be a professional.
To play for Real Madrid?
Yeah.
By that time, Ronaldo gone, you know.
I know he retired.
So what, you're going to still go? You're going to take his spot?
Yeah.
I
Zai,
think
what
you'll
about
be
you?
better.
When I grow up, I want to be a professional footballer, and I want to be the best striker on the team.
The best striker.
Striker. That's what you want to make the big bucks.
Yes.
And then you open a big restaurant for your chef rather.
So speaking on position, what position do you play currently? Obviously, you're a footballer. We see that you're in the Generation Next uniform. We know you're one of the under-9 stars on the team. But what position do you play?
I play defend and strike.
Both defender and striker. Oh, okay. And
What about you, Jalen?
I play for striker and goal.
Striker and goalie.
Well,
have some versatile
to be honest, I've seen Jalen in the goal, and you're wicked. You're wicked. You're wicked, wicked, wicked. And Zai, I saw you. First of all, his nickname is Zai. Zaire, but he's Zai to everybody. Zai is ruthless. He's ruthless out there. He's very hard. He's focused. You know what I mean? He loses the ball, he goes right back for the ball. Right, Zai? Because when you lose it, you got to get it back.
Hard worker.
Hard work.
Good boy. So, so just a question for both of you. You know, we can't always talk about the athletic part of it. We have to talk about the academics, meaning school. So let me start off with Zaya. What school do you currently attend?
I go to Mingdom Magnus Academy.
Mingdom Magnus Academy, okay. And what about you, Jalen?
I go to Post Millennial Academy.
Post Millennial Academy.
What grade are you in?
I'm in grade 4.
Grade 4? What about you,
In
Jalen?
grade 3.
Grade 3? Why are you laughing like that?
You gotta remember the days of grade 3. You don't need to laugh.
I can't remember the grades of grade 3. It was a very long time ago.
And speaking of that, do you have a favorite subject? Do you have a favorite teacher at the school?
What's your favorite subject, Jalen?
Favorite subject
Is maths. Math seems to be the number one thing running.
Yeah.
You're the third kid that we interviewed, and math. Who's your favorite teacher?
Miss Frampton.
Miss Frampton. Miss Frampton, hope you're watching, you know, and tell your whole family to watch when Jalen say you're his favorite teacher. Zai, what about you?
My favorite subject is maths, and my favorite teacher is Miss Hogan.
Miss Oran?
Miss
Hogan.
Miss Hogan. And does she
Hogan?
teach math as well? Is she a math teacher?
No, she's more like an English teacher.
She's an English teacher. Okay, okay. Well, it sounds like we have some up-and-coming mathematicians in the world.
Mathematicians. I just think you all want to be able to count that money when all you reach professional. That's what happened. Although don't nobody make mistakes with you all counting. But that's good. You all are very focused young men, and you know, as again, I saw you play, I saw Zai play, and I've been seeing Zai for years play, and you guys are really, really passionate and focused on football, and I admire that. And I hope that you guys can continue doing what you're doing. Don't give up. All right? You could only go further if you strike hard.
Yep.
Right, striker?
Yes.
All right. So now that we've met these young gentlemen and wish them the best and best of luck, and I hope we come and see you guys back in when we start to deal with the under 11s and under 13s. I hope it's going to be easy.
Easily, I like
Easy.
that response. I like that response.
Easy work, easy work. You know what, so, you know, we would like to go to a break right now, but before we go to the break, I want to say thank you to the Calvin Air Foundation, which is the benefactor for the CAF, the Advanced Academy. And the Advanced Academy is where we're going to see these young men later on as they get older, because the Advanced Academy is for the older kids who, from any walks of life, they come and they get a chance to be exposed to international training, and they are offered free SAT classes as well, so they can bridge that education gap to get into colleges and professional schools abroad. So I just want to thank Calvin Air and for the CAF Foundation, and we're going to get right back to you. And we're back again on the GN Sports Show, and now we've actually elevated the room. As you see, we have much bigger players here on the field, and we have crossed over now from football, and we now into basketball, and we've gone over to the St. Anthony's Secondary School, and which is S.A.S. Everybody knows as S.A.S. So we bring in the great Michael Jeffers.
Good evening.
Coach Jeffers.
Good evening.
And today with Coach Jeffers we have Joann,
Good afternoon. Good evening. Good
Jordan Martin, and
Tristan Richards.
No.
Good evening, players. Good evening, fellas. How you doing?
Great.
Great.
Good to hear.
So, Coach, let's know. First of all, before you tell us what's going on with S.A.S, let me know about you. Tell us about you, Coach Jeffers.
Coach Jeffers has been coaching for 16 years at St. Anthony's.
Oh.
Wow. Just about the time I'm alive, man.
We have 5 championships amongst the juniors, seniors, and as our first girls team that we have for years, me and Mrs. C was talking about that, and we finally got a girls team.
Yes.
Won the league and came second in the playoffs, so that's a big
Wow,
accomplishment.
yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
For
Congrats
sure.
to that, man.
Yeah.
So other than that, it's been a great ride.
But what about you? What about you? I hear you have a lot of accolades, and you're probably feeling you don't want to boast about it. Where's your accolades? Somebody whispered to me about national player for 5 years, and
Junior national player for 5 years, senior player for 2 years, and went to Queen's University for 4 years on a scholarship.
that's overseas, fellas.
Yeah.
That's overseas. For how much? For 2 years?
4 years.
4 years.
Wow.
Came back, went to APA as an electrical technician, and then help these guys get where they need to be.
And speaking of that, looking at the accomplishments as well, we see that you have 5 championships for S.A.S. in the National School League, and I'm assuming that's with these guys here that are sitting with us.
3 with them and 2 without.
Wow.
Yeah.
So we have some champions sitting here with us today.
Champions,
So let's go into speaking to the players now, Tristan and Jordan. As you can see, we deal with football. We're football players, so we don't know that much about basketball. Give me just a little overview on what your positions are on the court.
But tell us about you first, because everybody want to know who's this Tristan fella, what he doing on TV. You know what I mean? Let me know. Tell me something about Tristan.
Well, Tristan has been playing basketball since about 10 years old. But only started taking it seriously until about third form.
What form are you in right now?
I'm actually in A-level.
A-level.
A-level,
Oh, congrats
okay.
to that. Congrats to that.
Just graduated.
Nice.
I get into the game third form. Playing with Coach Jeffers really makes me get into the game seriously, because we had a very big roster. Got a lot of good guys, from Seth Joseph to LG, Chris, Aiden Crawford, DC. So it's been very competitive, very fun, very mind opening as well.
Yeah.
Just playing with those guys and getting to know them.
What position you play?
Well, last season, I
You
played
busy rocking the
shooting.
boat?
I played shooting guard last season.
Shooting
Guard.
guard. Okay.
Okay. And Jordan, give us a little, overview about you. Who is Jordan Martin, and a little bit about the position that you play.
Well, as you know, I'm Jordan Martin. I'm 18, just turned 18, and been playing basketball for, off and on between football and basketball, but once I got to high school, I took basketball seriously because of my brother, BJ Martin.
Okay.
I saw him play with Coach Jeffers, and I saw the way how they were playing, and I was like, yeah, this might be the sport for me. And once I started playing with Cookie, Tristan Richards, I realized that I'm great at this sport because of my size and my strength.
Right.
I play center and power forward for my team. Coach really pushed me to use my size because nobody can stop me down there.
Right.
So your size, you mentioned your size,
Yeah.
and it's kind of obvious thing, Jordan size. But so what? Are you considered the big man on campus?
Yeah.
Okay.
So once I am practice, these two people pressure me to push me to do my best on that court, especially my mom and my dad.
Yeah.
Them two are those motivators I had throughout my life playing the sport. So yeah, them two, I big up them two a lot.
Shout out to Jordan's mom and dad. If you're watching,
He's
give a shout out.
also national shot put champion for inter-school broke records.
What?
Wow.
So
What?
Man of all trades.
When I tell you about using your resources.
And just recently I did powerlifting, and I came I almost placed. And my PR right now is 4.5.
Wow.
Wow.
405 pounds. Wow. As we say, a man of all trades. You say football, basketball, shot put, cricket, weightlifting. A man of all trades. Amazing.
Everything.
Absolutely amazing. So let's go back to obviously both you guys, you play with Coach Jeffers. Just give it, what do you think of Coach Jeffers as a coach?
Great.
No, wait, you can be honest, you know. You can
Give
be
us a little
honest.
bit of cool about Coach Jeffers.
There's no backlash. So you're still playing. Coach, let me make a deal.
No,
you're
no.
still playing next game, you know. Go ahead.
No punishments.
Coach, he's a great coach because he pushes us a lot. Because he sees the potential in all of us. As I said, we had a big roster of lot of guys. So when we came together, and started playing fives, which is 5-5. There's a lot of talking. Just a lot of trash talking, a lot of competitiveness. So, and he's not another aggressive coach. He's very laid back, and he's understanding as well. So that's why I think he's a good coach.
Yeah. And Jordan, what about you?
Yeah, as Cookie said, he's a great coach because for me, when I started, I was not as versatile, and the way how I use my stuff, my capabilities now. Coach really set that path for me, and the way how he bring the practice together, make us have fun. That's the most important part about it, having fun. And Coach brings that to the table. He makes jokes with us, but not everything is about being fun. But like sometimes you have to take it seriously, as Coach would say. And when we make a mistake, it's not always like to keep your head up. That's one thing Coach always says. And champions always stand in the circle.
That's very true. Well, you know, I mean, it's been a pleasure to have you guys here, and I see that you guys are very passionate about basketball, and you have a very good mentor, and you know, I mean, coach. One thing I kind of have a problem with, and viewers, you could vibe with me. I think this basketball team only accept people with hair, and that is a problem. Because we are here, coach here and a thing, and I out of it. That's like a stick to my football. That's alright. It's more aerodynamic. So, thank you guys for being here. Coach, it's been a pleasure. I know your roster of accolades went on, and I don't want to, take up the whole show telling everybody what you do. But it's been a pleasure, and I hope we see you guys back next time when you guys win more championships. We definitely want to have you here. So, guys, we're going to take a little break. But before we go, again, I want to say thank you to the Calvin Air Foundation and the CAF Identification Combined. The Identification Combined, if anybody doesn't know, it's where we bring international coaches, international agents and stuff like that, scouts here to Antigua, and we open it up to a lot of different islands so that other children from other islands, St. Kitts, Jamaica, Barbados, whoever wants to come and be a part of the Combined and showcase their talent, we do it here. All right, so thank you again, Calvin Air, for the CAF Identification Combined, and GN Sports Show. We'll see you when we get back.
Welcome back to the GN Sports Show. As you can see, sitting on my right, we have the beautiful Mrs. Joann Callias, founder and principal of the St. Anthony's Secondary School. Welcome, Mrs. Callias, to the GN Sports Show.
Thank you.
Welcome, Miss Callias. She's the infamous Mrs. C. For everybody, Mrs. C. Mrs. C, it's a pleasure to have you here on our show. And there's a lot of things we can ask you, but you need a show for yourself. We're going to have to get a couch and have you sit down and give us the whole runaround. But we're going to try to be, fair and give you a couple targeting questions. One of the first questions, I think, is what's the vision and the mission for St. Anthony's Secondary School?
Okay, that's a big question. That could take me a while because I tend to ramble. But really and truly, from a young age, I wanted my own school, and I gave birth to St. Anthony's. It's a combination of the whole child, looking about forming the whole child, not just academics, but your sports as well, and the creative arts, making them well-rounded human beings, teaching them civility and integrity and those things as well. That was the vision, to have somewhere where the children could come, feel safe, and find their niche, and then just run with what they're about.
Yeah.
So.
Well, the second question in mind, I think you kind of answered that, but I'll ask you anyway. So I know, because I have a daughter who's going St. Anthony's, and I have a son who's soon to be a part of St. Anthony's. So I'm putting in that one time. What sets St. Anthony's apart? I know what sets it apart, but I'm asking you, what sets them apart from other secondary schools?
Okay. There are a lot of things that set us apart. When I decided to form St. Anthony's, I had been exposed to the government system here, the private school system here. I had been in Canada, and growing up I kept saying, well, there's certain, I love this or I love that. And I was principal of various schools, but something just never, it wasn't the whole me.
Yeah.
And so with St. Anthony's, then what I did was I brought in some of what they call the old-fashioned stuff that I thought had to be an integral part of any school, but trying to be more progressive and exposing the children that would come there to things like technology, the good part of technology. Just putting it all together. And I think we're almost there. Because we're not perfect. I keep saying that to parents. We aspire every day for perfection. So what sets us apart? People tell me when they walk into St. Anthony's, new parents, there's some sort of atmosphere there that they don't necessarily find. The children are polite. They will say good morning, they will say, can I help you, or whatever. And I just think that's normal. So when you ask me what sets us apart, I don't look at those things as something that should be setting us apart. I think it should be everywhere. Most schools, they focus on sports. I want everything. We don't rank, for instance. I know a lot of schools rank. There's no way that I'm going to say to a child, oh, well, you came 45th out of 46 students. That's such a downer for them, so we don't do things like that, which I think is prevalent elsewhere. We push the academics, but I don't think we will ever have a student, we may one day, coming out with 21 subjects. I want the students to do what they need to do to get to the next level, but I don't want them to sacrifice all the other aspects of growing up and being young people, doing the football, doing the basketball, doing the volleyball, or dancing, singing, having the time to do all those other things which help them when they're going to move on from me, getting them prepared for the next level.
And just to interject, there are two things that you touched on that I think is very, very imperative to parents as well who are looking on. That St. Anthony's, common is not necessarily common, right? What we think is common is not necessarily societally common nowadays, as you say. So they walking into a school and you think kids are going to be polite. You see kids walking by and they're going to say, good morning, sir, or good morning, it's not common. You know what I mean? And it's a shame. And one of the biggest things that you've said that sets you apart, and which I appreciate a lot, is we do need, one of the failing things with new schools is the new progressive thought of, we have to be more millennial, and no, we need to get back to the old school. We need to get the discipline from old school. We need to get the respect that was there from old school. And that is what gives birth to this overwhelming child and student and stuff like that. Yeah. So that is, I really, really appreciate that aspect of it as well.
Because we push respect of self, each other, the persons in authority, and the environment. Because that for us is very important too, is that the kids, because everything they throw. And I'm like, listen, soon you're going to be enveloped in garbage. Yeah. So, more, not just paper and so on, but garbage in the mind too, So, so respect is very important for us there.
Okay. And what academic programs or initiatives are you particularly proud of?
Oh, sorry. I'm proud of all of our academic programs. When we started, we focused on the secondary, but in the vision, it was always to then expand to tertiary. So after about 5 years, we opened up A-level classes. However, they didn't have a home. They were using the secondary school classes. And just about a year and a half ago, through a donor, we were able to build them their home. So on the property there's what we call the tertiary building, so they can do CAPE the 2-year program, but just 1 year ago, so that's a new program, we introduced a 1-year program for those students. Our children, maybe CXC results are late, so they haven't gotten their acceptance on time, or they're not ready to take on the adult world without mom and dad. So parents like to keep them here for at least 1 more year, but they don't necessarily want to do the 2-year CAPE. So we devised a 1-year program, which is like a stepping stone program for them to go into college or university a little more prepared. The SAT classes are offered as part of both programs, the 2-year and the 1 year. And I was adamant that whatever they did in that 1 year, there had to be some form of certification. Otherwise, it would lose its meaning.
Yes.
And so we utilize some of the 1-year CAPE units as foundation courses in the 1-year program, but then we have thrown in courses like they can do French, even if they've never done French before. It's at a level where whether you've done it or not, you can take a foreign language, and a variety of other courses to help them sort of choose and find where they really want to go, maybe a business course here or there, or a science course, because all of those are offered at the CAPE level, so they get to do a unit of one of those courses as well.
And I must say something about the A-level facility that you just mentioned. And I'm going to use a term that Caribbean people use when they want to explain something that's beyond Caribbean. The A-level facility is very Americanish. Anything that looks beyond Caribbean, they say, oh, it looks very American.
Yeah.
It looks very American. And in addition to that she didn't mention, they have now this is what my daughter, who goes to St. Anthony's, and her friends would say, a very American cafeteria that was just built. And listen, it's a cafeteria. It's a very, very involved cafeteria, well-designed cafeteria. It gives you that homey feel that you could go sit down and, you have the huge open space of kitchen where you could order your food and go back to the desk and sit down.
Eat your hot meals.
It's evolved, you know what I mean? I'm glad to be there. My daughter's in 3rd form, and none of those things were here in 1st form.
No.
And so it's good to see the evolution be there during the evolution of St. Anthony's.
Yes, because some of our past students have dropped in. Oh, we hear you did this and we hear you do that. How come you didn't do it when we were here? I said, well, come now. We welcome alumni. Past students are always welcome. Oh, right, exactly.
Attest to that. I have been to St. Anthony's over the years and see the major improvements that they have made. I can't say that I was not jealous, but obviously, the school has progressed over the years, and we're really happy for that.
And from walking the halls and having Miss C ask him and interview him as to why he walking the halls, to him sitting now interviewing Miss C about the new halls that she's been building. So another question we want to find out, which is, and I'm sure a lot of the parents want to find out, is what about the support system that you have for different type of learning? Now, this is something I've asked. My sons go to primary school, and I've always asked this to the principal of the primary school and stuff like that. We don't sometimes understand, teachers don't understand that people learn differently. Right? And some people are not as fast as others, and maybe sometimes they tend to go at one pace and some kids are left behind. What does St. Anthony's have in place for like the different types of learners, like the slower learner or the advanced learner? Like how do we cater for them both?
Yes, so we have what we call our educational support program. We don't call it special needs because we don't label like that. Right. So it's a room that's dedicated to supporting children. Like you say, whether they're a fast learner or a slow learner, whether they are dyslexic or ADD or ADHD. And we have teachers employed there who can cater to these children's needs. Right. So once children are locked into the program, the ones who have some, I don't want to use the word deficiencies, because that's not it. They just learn differently.
Exactly.
Yes. And what we try to identify is how to reach them so that they can excel, because they can excel. They can be the A student in your class if you have the right things in place. So they can go to that room and get that support. English, we find, is the basis of everything, and so what we do with the students who need that support, we put them in smaller groups for their English classes, but then we filter them into other subject areas. Some may not do as many subjects as the regular run-of-the-mill kid who's coming through the school, so that we can free up some of their time.
Right.
But like we say, it's not free periods, it's more study periods. So then they have that time and they go and they get the help. So there are different things that that program teaches them. Some of the things that they teach them are coping mechanisms, so they can get by and
Yeah.
they can excel. We've had so many successes with that program over the years that, you know, I'm very proud of another program, right, because it is. And then for the fast learners, we allow them to run with certain subjects earlier than fifth form for CXC. So for instance, we used to do math early. We are going to go back to doing math early, because more and more universities are telling us when the students come from secondary school with only CXC in math, there are some gaps. And so if you get them, those that can, do the math early, then we give them the additional math, which is a better
Right,
stepping
yep.
stone
Yes.
going into A-level or going into any kind of math career at university. So the other thing, students who can cope with the English at fourth form, we allow them to do that. But then again, English is a core subject, so you can't just drop it like that
Yep.
off of their transcript.
Yeah.
So what they do, those who pass in fourth form, let's say, they then go on to do what we call an advanced English course, which is pieces of the CAPE communication studies course, so students get a little higher level than
Right,
CXC, and again, to help them cope and function at the university or college level, or go and work. Because we keep saying getting them ready for college or university, but I'm a strong believer that not every child is
Yeah, yep.
university material,
Yeah.
and can find their niche in society, working and making the money that they need, you know.
Yeah,
of
and
course.
something that you touched on as well is labels. Labels are very, very, you know what I mean? I hate it. I hate it, I hate it, I hate it. Because as a child, not even, you know, child as in 5, 6 years old, but as a non-adult, you do attach your label to yourself and you make it yours. And I've always learned that someone's opinion of you does not matter. It's what you call yourself and what you feel for yourself. And as you said, when you tell a child you're 45th or you're a slow learner, no, you're not a
Yeah.
slow learner. You just, as you use the term, you just learn differently.
Differently.
You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
when you reach them in that aspect, it works. It works.
So just before we wrap up our segment here, Mrs. Carlos, I'd like to just ask you one more question. Is there a message that you'd like to share with the students, parents, and the community at large?
Ooh. You're asking me a tough question there. There's so many messages. I guess my message is a bit of my own philosophy about education, is that education needs to think about moving forward, taking our children from point A to the next level, whatever that level is for them. But focus, yes, on their academics, even their sports or whatever, but don't forget the person inside, and helping them from home to learn that respect, to recognize that respect. Too much now, our children are exposed to technology, which is good, but can really be detrimental.
Yes.
You know, and I would love parents and children to understand that there's a time and place for that phone and that iPad.
Yeah.
And they always say, oh, well, it disappears. It doesn't disappear. That's a fact. It does not disappear. Somebody has screenshotted something, and, you know.
Yeah.
And
So-
I know we have to leave, but one quick thing, and you touched on, this peeves me. It peeves me now with society that we don't have the traditional textbooks all the time. Like me, I loved it. I loved it with my kids growing up, where you can follow them with the textbooks. And now in schools, a lot of stuff is online. You know, your work is online, study online. And it irks me, because sometimes I see my teenager online and I'm like, are you online or online? You know what I mean? Because
Yes.
you don't know if your social media in it. Because if you see them on the phone like this, like, what are you doing? Oh, I'm homework. And you can't say, every minute you can't go, let me see.
Right.
But that is one of the technological thing that, you know, I think we need to really kind of get back. to the old time way. I like the smell of books and paper. But so we got to go. But one quick thing: what's your legacy you want to leave, Ms. Callias?
Dear. Well, I hope that the person who takes over from me continues in the same spirit that I started the school.
You might have to make that person yourself, boy.
I'm looking. Again, as you can see, the hair is getting grayer and grayer. It's time for me to step down, but I have to find, and it's going to be hard. I know that, and I'm not looking for a Joann Callias to sit in my seat. I'm looking for someone who will take on some of the good things that
Right.
I have started, and it be part of them, but to also put their stamp on what St. Anthony's will be long after I'm gone.
Well, you heard it here, Ms. Joann Callias, Mrs. C. This conversation, as I said in the beginning, could go on and on and on. There's so much that we need to know, so much, as parents. Right now, kids are getting out of hand. We're losing them, and we do need to get back to that traditional parenting. Ms. Callias, it's been a pleasure. I think you're the most beautiful person in the studio right now.
I agree.
You know what I mean? But, it's a pleasure to have you, and I hope we can
Thank
have you
you.
back here
Anytime.
for more stuff.
Yes,
Thank you,
I've
Mrs.
enjoyed
So-
it too, so thank you for having me.
Thank
It's
you.
a pleasure. So we're going to take a break right now, John.
We'd like to take a quick break where we would like to thank the sponsors of the Gomez Netherlands Insurance Youth Football League, Kenneth A. Gomez Insurance Agency, Netherlands Insurance, Nestle's Milo, and A.S. Brydens and Sons.
And welcome back to the GN Sports Show, guys. The show just keep getting better and better and better. We had the kids, we had Miss Callias with a barrage of information about schools and your kids that would tend to go there, who are going there now. But we're taking it down a little bit. We're adding a little style inside. We're adding the beautiful, intellectual Patrice Jacobs, Media Associate at the Air Media and Calvin Air Foundation. Patrice, welcome.
Welcome to the show. Welcome. So let's just start it off. Just a quick question. What is the philosophy of the Calvin Air Foundation?
Well, let me first start by giving you a little bit of background about the foundation. So the Calvin Air Foundation, named after Ambassador Calvin Air, who is an Antiguan Canadian. He started from very humble beginnings and always felt like no matter what level of success he attained, he always wanted to give back. So that was the basis on which he started the Calvin Air Foundation. He initially started his efforts in the Philippines. So in that part of the world, as you know, they have a lot of issues with typhoons and flooding and
Yes.
fires, etc. So needless to say, when the foundation stepped in, the work they did was really impactful. When Ambassador Air decided to make Antigua his home, he then brought the foundation here and continued the efforts in this country. And one of the things he's always said is that he believes that doing the work that he does in Antigua can be seen because of how small the population is. The impact is bigger.
Right.
So in terms of the philosophy of the foundation itself, it is to inspire, to elevate, and to empower. At present, we focus mainly on 3 what we call pillars. So we focus a lot on emergency response. I'm sure you guys have seen news articles about the work we do along with the Calvin Air helicopters.
Yeah.
We do a lot
Yes.
of medical evacuations. We're helping persons, whether they have accidents, whether they have heart issues, you name it. If a case comes across our desk and someone needs to be medevaced overnight, best believe we're on the phone no matter what, or we're calling the Calvin Air helicopters, or we're reaching out to air ambulance teams that we partner with to get persons flown out. And it's to different areas, sometimes within the region, sometimes out of it. So that's emergency response. We also focus a lot on sports and education, which is why we're all here. And outside of that, we focus on other social activities, right? So presently, we are in partnership with the Generation Next FC, who we are very, very proud to partner with because of the work we do, not just because of the sport element, but mainly because of the educational element. Right. Ambassador Air himself is an avid sport fan. And he has spoken so many times about how many bones he's broken and how much he's done over the years, whether that's in football, whether that's in kite surfing, you name it. However, one thing he's always maintained is that he does believe that no matter how good you become at sport, if you don't have that academic background to
Right.
back you, you
Right.
can't go much further.
Right.
Which is why, and I know you guys have spoken about this, I don't want to sound like a scratch record, but it is why we pour so much into the Advanced Academy.
Yeah.
And we love to see the efforts. It's not just us giving money, but I feel like our job is so much more rewarding when the stories come back about the students who've gone overseas, whether that's on a trial run, whether they've gotten a partial scholarship recently with that full scholarship. I feel like it was one of the most joyous things we heard about.
Right. Yeah.
And even being able to sit in on some of the SAT classes, because that is something that we've done just to kind of see how far the impact is going. I myself, and I know this isn't about me, but just to kind of show you that even though for us at work, this is work, beyond the work, is the heart of myself and Jamila and the rest of our team members. We're all very big on mentoring. Yeah. Especially when it comes on to kids within a certain age group, because the reality is the earlier you catch them, the better.
Yeah.
And if you can pour into someone that is younger in any way, whether it's to give them guidance about life, give them guidance about finances, give them guidance about college. And I too have a background in education, so I'm very, very passionate about mentoring at that level. So seeing what the Generation Next Foundation, football club, I'm all about the foundation. Seeing what the club has been doing for young student athletes, not just here in Antigua, but overseas, especially with the leg that you guys have in the United Kingdom, that is something that we feel really good about, and we're very happy to be partnering with you guys on.
So Patrice,
Yes.
so I wanted to ask you something about Calvin Air Foundation. And I guess everybody else would want to know as well. Is Calvin Air Foundation primarily a foundation that assists with health emergencies, or is there like a plethora of things that we can get involved in? Education or whatnot or what have you. What is the limits and reaches of Calvin Air Foundation?
Well, that's a great question, Jason. So thank you for that, because I do believe that because of a lot of work that we do is around health. Mm-hmm. So I believe that people have developed this idea that it is probably all we do. But the truth is, like we were saying earlier, we do also have roots in sports and education. Mm-hmm. So outside of the sports side of it, which is the Generation Next Football Club, we also partner with the Island Academy. Right, the Island Academy located in Buckley's, which is the island's only baccalaureate school, and they have that IB program that where students can go from first to sixth form and then transition into that program. And similarly to what the GNFC is doing with the Advanced Academy, which is having students transition from high school into SATs and then have the potential to go to universities overseas. It's the same idea behind that program. Once the students do the IB program, they're basically setting themselves apart for schools overseas. And so, it's one of the things that we enjoy doing. And even though we know that there is an idea publicly that not every school deserves it, the reality is that in some cases where the reach is wider, it's a lot easier to see the efforts that you have put in. And so when the Island Academy approached the foundation and we saw their mandate and we saw the long-term goals of the school and realized that it had a reach beyond just Antigua, beyond the region, without a doubt it was something that Ambassador Ayer gave a nod. Outside of the Island Academy, and this one was relatively new, so I believe people may not be as aware, but we recently also partnered with the University of the West Indies Five Islands campus.
Okay.
So we awarded the institution with $200,000 US.
Wow.
Yes, to help students for 2 years to complete their program. So you know how it is. You come out of high school, you have dreams to do this thing or that thing, and so it means that your next step has to be college.
Yeah.
Or where's the money going to come from?
Yeah.
Right. So, and in many cases, many families within the Caribbean can't afford a certain cost. Now, luckily for us within this country and this region, we have the University of the West Indies, and it was one of the partnerships, like I said, that is more recent, but one that has had so much purposefulness to it. So with that $200,000, how that works is once the student and their family can cover the first year, then the foundation steps in on year 2. And they're either awarded with a full scholarship dependent on their GPA, or they are awarded with a bursary. So, in some cases, you just need a little thing to tide you over so that you can get to the next level. And so that's how the bursary operates. And then the student then also, once they maintain a certain GPA throughout their second year, then they also qualify again for the third year. And it means then that one of the issues around education oftentimes is students, not the students, sorry, but the colleges, they're quick to recruit students. But where the power of the education you're giving really lies is in retention.
Yes.
Because you can recruit 500 students at the start of your academic year, but you may not be able to retain them by the time they get to year 2. And so it means then that, there's a question of, are we really doing as much as we need to? And so when there are companies or organizations such as the Calvin Ayre Foundation who are willing and able to step in and give that extra, it really helps students to stay in. And it means that if we're educating more students, then when you think about employment in Antigua, it's going to mean that we have people who are not just filling the more I don't want to say menial jobs per se, but people that are able to be educated at
trained
a
and
certain level.
skilled
Exactly. So that's something that we're very proud of. So you guys can look out. We should be doing some media blitzes soon to talk a little bit more about the work. Because can you believe you attend an institution that has a scholarship fund in place, but people are not taking the money?
Wow.
That's ridiculous.
So we want to get people out of this notion that taking money is a handout. It's not. It's assistance to get you to where you need to go. I mean, I can take the money.
Well, I can forward information to Calvin Ayre Foundation.
Right.
I know 3 students from the Chorus Learning Academy.
There you go.
And they can do well with the 200,000 US for education.
Yes, and
you know what I mean?
Find one at the Patrice Academy. So, the reality is so many of us could do better and be better if we just have someone assisting us.
Yeah.
So this notion, like I said, that we have that, and I know it's pride, but I want people and, as a foundation, a larger institution, we want to ensure that people understand that pride shouldn't be where it is, right? There's some opportunities you only get once or twice throughout your life.
Right.
So if you are listening or watching and you are a student at the University of the West Indies Five Islands campus and you are struggling financially, don't see this as a handout. See it as a gift. We are gifting you this money to help you to get through your college education. So let me not belabor that point too much. So that's education. And then we also focus on social development.
Right.
So we have done some work with the government house.
Okay.
Right, so we were one of the main sponsors for the government house restoration center, and in that center they have an art gallery, they have a gift shop, and it allows the government house to expand as a tourist attraction.
Right.
But then this element of it also helps them to get a bit of funding on their own. They say you don't always give a man a fish, you teach him to fish. And so we're happy to have been a part of that wonderful initiative. Yes, it was last year. We partnered with the Department of Youth Affairs as well. They had an entrepreneurship edge program, and it was such a beautiful program. Basically what they did was they built out a 6-week program where young entrepreneurs, whether you were already in business or you were just aspiring to be in business, you could come in for 6 weeks, and it was 2 days per week. You get training, you get mentorship, you're getting ideas, you're able to, if you have a product that you want to launch, they give you that avenue. You bring the product in, people buy it on spot, or people sample it on the spot. It was such a beautiful initiative. So, much big ups to the DYA team. And we also partner annually with ABISO, which is the Youth Symphony Orchestra of Antigua and Barbuda.
Okay.
And they usually have a show in the summertime, and they have a show a few months before, usually around Easter. And the idea behind that is to help young people to have another avenue. A lot of kids are into sports, and all hail. I was never one of those athletic kids in school.
And we just had, sorry to interject, but
that's fine.
We just had Boulos-Callias on, and we went over the aspect that not all of us are meant to be academic scholars, and a lot of us we get so bogged down by the fact that we may not be at the same level as other academic scholars, and we feel beaten and we feel depressed. But we could be creators. You know what I mean?
That
so
is
there are kids who are very, very creative, but they may not be academic.
That's right.
And you put them in a room and you give them a steel pan, and they
shine.
beat that steel pan, or a guitar, or football, or all of these things. So we have to understand that as well, that it's not always about the academic academics, but it's about your passion and turning your passion. This is one of my biggest things. I tell my kids that. Let's find out your passion and let's turn your passion into a business.
Yes.
Because the stereotypical thing of do what you love, you never work a day in your life.
Mm-hmm.
That's by doing your passion. You know what I mean?
Right.
So,
and that is something that we at the Calvin Ayre Foundation really are just. It's one of those things that make you feel very proud to be with the organization that you're with. I recall when we a few years into us working along with the orchestra, we actually did a show for them. It wasn't a full show, it was like a little docu-series. And basically we brought students in along with their parents and we spoke about what got them into music, similar to what you guys are doing with football. What got you into music, what inspired you? And we spoke to them a bit about their journey with the Abiso. And I'll never recall, and it's something you said that triggered that I'll never forget, a young man, he came on and he said, I'm in school with so many different types of students. Some of them are much smarter than I am academically. Some of them can travel a lot. Some of them, their families can take them on vacation. Some of them are good at basketball, at football. And honestly, I'm not good at any of those things. So when I got introduced to Abiso and the first day I took up my violin, I was just a changed person. And I'm telling you, I sat there behind that camera with tears rolling down my eyes. And I'm saying this is it because, like you rightfully said, not everybody is going to be able to achieve at the same academic level as their peers. And the reality is we know that education is important, but the truth is we can't always stymie a child's growth because they're not doing. So having programs like the orchestra, helping students both in Antigua and Barbuda has really, really helped, and it's something we're very, very proud to partner with.
Well, Patrice, thank you so much for being here.
Yes, you guys are welcome.
Parents, I can't say it more. I can't keep saying it. As Patrice said, we have to stop, putting the burden on our kids if we don't think that they're not excelling academically. It may not be their path. And a lot of times we put the pressure because we want them to live the lives that we wish we didn't live. And we have to stop it. We have to just explore, sit down, find out what they love, what they want to do, explore it, and find something, how to make it a business for them. Patrice, thank you so much for being here. Thank you much for giving us this information about the Calvin Ayre Foundation that I'm sure you guys did not know before. I certainly didn't know before, and that's what we're here for, right? To find out all these things. And I'm sure we're going to have you back, because we need to find out more stuff.
Okay, all right.
So thank you so much for being here. And thanks for watching the GN Sports Show. We have to go on a break, but we'll be right back with something more. All right?
And welcome back, viewers, to the GN Sports Show. On this segment of the show, we would like to welcome Joann Mead, our physio, just to give us a quick talk about ankle sprains. Welcome, Joann.
Thank you for having me.
So just to start this off, just give us a little brief example or an overview of what is an ankle sprain.
Well, ankle sprain is basically just the rolling or the twisting of the ankle that will cause ligament to tear.
Okay.
And so what is like the common cause of an ankle sprain?
Well, mostly it's tackling or collision from another player, or sometimes it could be the fields. They're not level, and then you might drop in a hole, twist your own ankle. And
so these are things that players must also pay attention to, you know what I mean? Or even coaches. When you have unlevel fields and stuff like that, there's an added risk of injury to your players. So it's something that you have to be careful for, and let at least the owner of the fields or whatever, hey, we need to patch up these holes, and because it could be more than an ankle sprain.
Basically,
you know what I mean?
And so, speaking about that, what can the athletes do to prevent these ankle sprains? Obviously, in that instance we were talking about, if it comes to an unlevel field, it might not be up to the athletes to prevent that. That would be more of the coaching staff and the owners of the field to get the field prepared. But if an athlete was to, say, roll their ankle, get into a bad challenge, as you were saying, what can they do to prevent this from happening?
Well, firstly, you must do some ankle strengthening, especially twisting the ankles left and right. Those kind of things help to strengthen the ankle. Or you can put some tape, some wrap on your ankle, so wrap it so it keeps steady. So even
Mbappe style.
wrap in the ankle. Those is very important.
But what you said there, right? A lot of people do not spend a lot of time on that, and I know a lot of you guys would attest to the same thing. Stretching is a problem. A lot of athletes, we don't stress. we stress. We only want to get on the field, whether it's basketball, cricket, football. We just want to get on there. But you have to get your blood circulating first. You got to get your muscle. Everything is muscle. So we have to get into that zone where we get the muscle prepared before, you know what I mean, we go and put a lot of exertion into it.
Yeah.
So now that we've discussed like what we could prevent, let's say it happened. It happened, you run out on the field, you sprain your ankle, you bump into someone, or the field is uneven, your foot. How do we recover from this sprained ankle? What is the duration of time, and what are the steps we take to recover?
Well, in physiotherapy, the first step called is rice.
Rice.
So that means...
No food rice.
No.
Right.
So that means R is for rest, I is for ice, C is for compression, and E is for elevation. So let me break it down now. So the rest. So as it happens, you must rest for the next 48 to 72 hours. That's very important. If you don't rest between then, you can get swelling and those kind of things to the ankle.
But you're the best player on the team. You have about 5 minutes to go. You're already down one or you're up one, and you know what I mean, you need to get a last goal in. You gotta rest.
You have to rest.
You gotta come up that.
I see that plenty that coaches will still say you still got to go.
Yeah.
But that's when it gets worse for the athlete.
Yeah.
Because you didn't take them off as it happened. You know, and
you
then
live to fight the next day.
you might not fight the next day. Because your ankle might be swollen. No, you can't kick a football.
Yep.
You know?
And then there's a possibility of, as you said, obviously, recovering might take 48 to 72 hours. Now it might take longer. Maybe
Longer
2
because,
weeks.
yep. And then when we move on to ice.
Yep.
So now the icing has to be 15 to 20 minutes every 2 to 3 hours.
Wow.
That's very important as well. You can't pass 20 minutes because that's going to be bad for ankle as well.
So okay, well that's new. So
That is, yeah.
what does over icing? I'm sure we want to know, what does over icing mean? Because I know a lot of people feel, oh, let me keep it. The longer I keep it on the sore, it's better.
Yeah.
And over icing, because I've heard this before. What does over icing do?
So over icing is basically just burning inflammation into the injury. So when you burn it, it's even worse for you. Because ice is just going to numb it.
Yeah. Tell them that. Tell them don't over ice.
Don't over ice.
Don't over ice. In your drinks, yeah, but don't over ice with your ankles. You know what I mean?
Yes, it's very important. And then now we move on to compression. That's no wrapping the leg, the ankle I mean.
Yes.
But you can't wrap it too tight.
Just gonna ask that.
Yeah, you have to make sure it's wrapped just to comfort, just to hold it.
So too tight could like
Stop the circulation.
blood flow and
Stop the circulation. So and that's gonna be bad as well.
Right.
So then when you take off the wrap, then your foot there just swell up even bigger.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's very important. And now down to elevation, you have to make sure when you're sitting, you have your leg up. Okay, you don't want too much blood flowing down now right into your foot. So
Right.
What happens though if the blood flows
all
down?
swelling as well too. Yes, yeah. So any little thing from your ankle, you have to make sure you keep it upwards. It's best if you want to lie down, that's good.
Yeah.
Or if you're sitting, try to put your foot on a bench or something just to keep it upwards.
I remember something I heard. I don't know if it's true. Don't hold me against it. You know, it's the internet listening about if you have a swelling or if you have an ailment, you keep the body part elevated because you want to keep the blood from rushing down to your heart area. So you want to let the blood flow. I mean, no, yes, because if you have it down, then blood is going to obviously flow to that area, and you might be taking too much blood. I don't know if it's just something I saw, and I wanted to find out actually if that was really making sense. That's why you elevate so that you don't really take too much of blood away.
Yeah, because the injured part now, your body's a funny thing. So the injured part now is going to have everything want to go towards it.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Yeah, that's why you have to keep it elevated so everything does still circulate around the body.
That's good, man. That's good. Well, you know what I mean? It's a lot of information that you have to know. You have to know. Injuries happen all the time in sports. You're not a superhero, and you're not gonna avoid injury. It don't matter how small or big, and it doesn't even matter when you think it's small, because the thing you think it's small, sometimes mentally you think it's small because you want to keep playing.
Yep.
And your ego makes you think, let me go, and then you turn the hairline fracture into you having a cast
Yep.
for a long time and getting out of the game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's always a pleasure, Duran, having you here. We need the knowledge. So for our parents and even for our kids who watching, kids, don't be a superhero. Live to fight another day. Your foot hurts, you get a sprained ankle or whatever, let the physio or let your coach, let they tell you you can't do it. And you also have to know a little bit, you know, depends on how young you are. I can't stand up on it. I coach, I need to come out. You know what I mean? We need to have that kind of discussion with our players and stuff like that. So, Duran, it's a pleasure having you here. I know we're going to have you next week to find out some more things that we can do to keep healthy and stuff like that. So, it's been a pleasure. Thank you guys again. Listen, I don't know what John want to say. I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to be here with John. GN Sports Show. We're here to stay and we're here to play.
We're here to
so until next week, GN Sports Show.
Take care. Thank you guys.
Interviews, insights, dreams taking flight. We show them how to handle the spotlight, preparing them for the journey ahead, building confidence, the words left unsaid. From the grassroots to the national scene, young athletes chasing every dream. In every game there's a story to tell. GN Sports Show, we know them well. GN Sports, where the youth lead the way. Champions of tomorrow making waves today. From ages 5 and up we help them grow. It's their time to shine on the GN Sports Show. Show interviews where the youth lead the way. Champions of tomorrow making waves today. From ages 5 and up we help them grow. It's their time to shine on the GN Sports Show. GN Sports, where the youth lead the way. Champions of tomorrow making waves today. From ages 5 and up we help them grow. It's their time to shine on the GN Sports Show. GN Sports Show.